So let's come in here, and we want to create a sphere for the eye, and I want to place it right up here. Well, we could create it at the origin and move it up there, but let's look at a different way. You see this little circle with the crosshair? It's our 3D cursor, and we can click with the left mouse button to place it within our view, or we can come in here and place it, kind of around our model here. What this means to us as we create our geometry is that wherever that is, that's where our new piece of geometry is going to be created. So that only will create our geometry at the origin if our 3D cursor is also at the origin. We can move it to the origin if we want to by hitting Shift-C. So you can see it popped it right to the origin. Or we can place it in a particular spot. So let's click right here to place it kind of inside of that opening there. And let's go to Create, and let's create a sphere. We're just going to do a UV sphere. You can kind of see the size of it there, and so you can decide, how many rings you want it to have. I think 12 is probably good, and 12 segments is probably good as well. But I also want to rotate it, and so I can come in here and kind of rotate it around. Maybe rotate it that way a little bit. We can also change the size, so I want to make it a little bit smaller. You can see it's already pretty much in the right position. Okay, so you can see it there. Now what we can do is come in, and if we want to still move it around, we can certainly do that. We can kind of grab this and kind of move it wherever we want to. But I want to add a little bit of detail. Now, if I want to kind of frame in on what I'm doing, I can hit the period key on the number pad, and that will kind of frame up on the whatever object or a piece of the object I've selected. So let's go to edit mode. Let's select these polygons at the front. So something like that. Now I want to move those back into the sphere, but you can see that because I've got this rotated, it's not wanting to move those back in the right direction. Okay, so what I want to do is change this from our transform orientation from global, and let's try local. And then that'll allow me to move it straight back into there. Okay, so I'm thinking about this as the pupil, and then maybe this is the iris. So I can kind of pull it back like that. We can also go to scale and sort of flatten it up a little. Now when we smooth this, it's going to be really, really soft. So if we add a modifier, we'll add a subdivision modifier. You can see how soft that is. And so we'll just use Control R. Click and drag to the edge here. And same thing right there. And then we also want to do the same thing right here next to the pupil. So we'll kind of pull that down. And then if you want to do the add a loop the other way, we already looked at this tool, right? What would we do? We would hit the I key to do an inset. And that'll have the same result. Okay, but so now we've got these three edges. As a general rule, when you're subdividing your geometry, three edges are going to give you a nice tight sort of beveled edge. And so now, if we turn that back on, you can see we get a nice soft shape there. Okay, and we can add a little bit more detail to the body by adding those edges as well. So we can come in here if we wanted to kind of tighten up the front a little bit. We could do that. You can see that kind of tightens that up a little. Okay, so once we've got one eye, the next thing we want to do is kind of create the other eye. So let's take a look at mirroring separate objects. Instead of one seamless object, we want to just create a mirror image of this. So let's take a look at how we can do that in the next lesson.